Hey everyone, and welcome back to Exposed Scandalous Files of the Elite. I'm your host, Jim Chapman, and today I am bringing you something a lot different than what is typical here on Exposed, but it's important, and I'm excited about it, and I know you will be too. So many of you know that in addition to hosting Exposed, I also host a show called Bloody Angola. I talk about the world's most notorious prison, Louisiana State Penitentiary in Angola. I host a local business podcast called Local Leaders that focuses on businesses right here in my area. And in addition to all of that, I also host Crime Wire Weekly with Kelly Jennings. We're co-host on that show. Now, I'm also blessed to be executive producer for what I would say is the most talented stable of podcasters on earth, with one of those being award-winning true crime podcaster Kelly Jennings of Unspeakable, a true crime podcast by Kelly Jennings. Kelly and I have been keeping a secret for nearly a year now, and that has been our work on a mega series. This series is titled DTL. It covers the crimes of notorious South Louisiana serial killer Derek Todd Lee, who terrorized the South Louisiana community in the late 90s and the early 2000s when he killed at least 7 women, though it's suspected that number could be as high as 12 or maybe even higher. Now, I struggle to call this a series or a podcast. It's really what I would call a listener experience. Think of it like a Netflix documentary for your ears. It's complete with a musical score. It has sound effects that will actually make you feel as though you are right there with Kelly as she tells the story. So I was a guest on Unspeakable, a true crime podcast by Kelly Jennings just this week, and we discussed everything that listeners can look forward to with this series, what led us to do it, how hard the research was, and the digging that was involved, the back-end work on that. And I know that there are many of you that are listeners of Exposed that may not be familiar with this award-winning true crime podcast called Unspeakable. So I am going to play that interview for you now with Kelly Jennings. And in the description, I'm going to link Unspeakable so you can go follow it. So here's that. Again, we're talking about DTL, a series like you've never heard before. It drops November 3rd, Monday, November 3rd. Thank you so much for listening and much love.
Welcome to Unspeakable, a true crime podcast where I tell stories of real crimes with real victims, whose cases are so shocking that many are left wondering, how is this even real? I use my experiences in law enforcement, corrections, and combined with my years as a criminal justice educator, dig deep into complex cases of evil acts. Some so evil, many feel they are unspeakable. Warning. Unspeakable is intended for mature audiences. If you are easily offended, then I'm not your girl. Listening discretion is advised. Hey y'all, KJ here back with another episode of Unspeakable, and I have a special guest in the house with me today. Say hello, special guest.
Hey everyone, it's Jimothy.
It is. It is the Jim Chapman, Jimothy as I call him. And he's sitting in on this one with me today because we've got something a little different. Because we're going to be letting y'all know about this upcoming Derek Todd Lee series that we have been painstakingly working on for a hot minute.
Yeah, I would say the better part of a year. We have discussed this series, talked about what we wanted to do with it. It required a lot of work on everybody's part. And it is a little bit different than what you're used to from Unspeakable. This is a very highly produced, just an awesome series. I couldn't be prouder of how it turned out. From the storytelling, which is obviously top notch when we're dealing with KJ, to the back end work that was involved in this that we're going to get into a little bit today. I'm just flat out excited.
I am too. And so let's start here. If you're not from Louisiana, I want to clue you in because you may not be familiar with him. We assume, because we're from here, that everybody knows what we're talking about, because I would be hard-pressed to believe anyone under the age of 25, I guess, maybe, but anyone over the age of, I guess, of 25, if you say the words Derek Todd Lee, they immediately know exactly what you're talking about. And it brings you back to a moment in time where all of us were basically seriously frozen with fear because women were being hunted.
Yeah.
They were absolutely being hunted in our area. They were dropping left and right. And I say that with the utmost respect. I don't mean that in any way other than, our wives and our sisters and our daughters were going missing. Yeah. And nobody knew who was next. And it was all in all in South Louisiana, which we've got our waterways and our bayous, and it's a easy place for someone to go missing.
Yeah, it really is. And we want to get into today a little bit about how this series is going to be different. And look, Kelly did a live on DTL. And of course, I don't know how many hundreds of people attended that. It was a 2-day event. 3.
We had to do a third night. Yeah, we had to open it up again.
Maybe 500 or so people total. But even if you were at that live, this is going to be a lot of what you've never heard.
Oh, 100%. If you came to the live right now, stop if you're going, oh, man, I already know this. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because that live show, I had 2.5 hours to try to impart on you a lot of people's lives and what happened to them. But there was no way I could tell you every single thing in 2.5 hours. No way. This series is a long one, a very long one, but every story is different. It's not something being drug out. I mean, I literally need hours to tell you everything that was going on.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the entire series is about 13 hours in length. These are broken up into 30 to 40 minute segments. And it is absolute fire. Now, there's going to be some things that are going to be a little bit different, and actually some big advantages to Patreon members.
Right. First thing I'll tell you is this. We wanted this to not just be episodes. We wanted this to be a listening experience. We wanted you to feel what these women were feeling, and men, because there are men involved in these stories. We want you to smell it and taste it and hear it, much like it actually went down. Yeah.
So one of the things that I did just yesterday, actually, is I went through and I listened to the first 4 episodes. And look, I recommend this to everybody. Wear some headphones, if possible. I know a lot of people listen to it in the car. If you do that, turn it up. Because as Kelly just said, this is actually a listening experience. I put on my AirPods and I actually laid down in my bed and I closed my eyes and I literally thought or felt that I was right there in the moment as it was happening. And it was amazing.
The detail in this really mattered to me. As it should matter to you. The small things matter just as much as the big things. And if you were at my house with me, my family they wanted to just get me for this, but it was a hot mess because I had notebooks and binders. I was working out of 2 computers and notebooks galore because I was comparing and contrasting all sorts of different accounts. Jim knows we had people that were actually a part of this, the real victims, real investigators, the actual people involved, many hours spent speaking with them and trying to make this as cohesive and as real as I possibly could. Because this, like I said, this was just, we lived it. Jim, how old were you when this was going on?
I was around 28.
I was 18, freshly 18 years old on LSU's campus. And a lot of the hunting, and there's no other word to use, that's not for theatrics, hunting of these women, I was right there in the mix
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
And I know you were newly married, right? You just got married.
Well,
I
had been married 4 years by that point.
Did y'all have the Trevor by then?
No, it was just prior to us having our first child.
Yeah.
So we were concerned. I was concerned. My wife actually fit that profile pretty.
Yours truly does too.
I don't
both
want to
of
give
us.
away. I don't want to give away too much, but the dark hair and it was nerve wracking.
Yeah, it was. And so to really give you perspective on this, it didn't affect one parish, and we're parishes here, not counties. It didn't affect one parish. It didn't just affect two. It affected multiple parishes. Imagine one human being on this planet instilling fear amongst that many people.
Yeah.
And it's like a needle in a haystack.
It really is. I agree 100%. So let's get into the production of this a little bit and what you can expect. Number one, we have, I would call it an award-winning score on this one, a musical score that is set in the background of this series. And when I tell you that you put those headphones on and you lay back and you feel like you're there, everything from the breathing, I'll give you one snippet of something that you can look forward to. There's an aspect of a story that really stuck out to me where Kelly is describing a woman jogging around what's known as LSU Lakes. And you can actually hear the feet hitting the ground, and you can hear from the breathing as you're running. That's how much you will feel like you are right there in the moment, and that is something that you can really look forward to. And it goes a lot to the storytelling, speaks a lot to that, and the back end work that was involved.
So if you're from here, and if you're not, I want to tell you this: majority of the time, if you look up this case or what was going on here, the media focused. The typical general media focused on a relatively short period of time in comparison to everything that this guy was doing. And I'm going to tell you everything from minor petty thefts up through, the most brutal of endings of people's lives that you could possibly imagine, because everything to me mattered. I'm just going to start with his birth. Just so y'all know, I'm starting with his birth, and I'm going all the way through everything. So if, like we said, we had hundreds of people that came out to the live show, and I had so much fun doing the show, and people really enjoyed it. And so when I promoted the live show, so many people said, please live stream it. Please live stream it. Well, we didn't have the capabilities at that time, based on just where we were with the show and the way that it was set up in the place that we had the show. That just wasn't an option. It wasn't because we didn't want to, just wasn't an option for us at that time. Well, now that's when we put our heads together, and I'll give credit, hats off to Jim. He was like, there was so much to this you never even really could touch. What if we put it into a series? And at first, I had some pushback. I was like, I've told the story. And then he was like, no, man, everybody needs to hear it in its totality.
Right.
It's so much more than you can. I know I keep saying that, but you won't believe it.
Yeah, there's just a lot of details, but none of it is mundane.
Yeah, failures of the court system, overlookings of the judicial system. That hindsight's 20/20. But when I lay this out for you, you're going to go, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. This guy was even, walking around.
That's right. So one of the things that you can look forward to if you're a Patreon member, and I do want to mention this even before we get into that. This does not take away from Unspeakable's regular series episode. You can call that Unspeakable Original. Right. That will still drop every Wednesday. So this is an extra drop. This is just another drop on another day. This particular series, DTL, will drop every Monday. You'll have Unspeakable Original every Wednesday. That will be dropping as usual. And then on Fridays, of course, we always drop a preview of Crime Wire Weekly. So you're going to have actually 3 days now of KJ talking on all kinds of different topics. And so I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that you're still going to get your Unspeakable.
Oh yeah, this is in addition to. And look, you're my friends, okay? And that's why we wanted to talk, and I hope you're listening to me, because I'm hearing you. I'm listening. I'm reading your messages saying, please release more episodes a week, please. This is just a huge push and effort to give you more and give you exactly what you wanted.
Yeah. So we're also going to be dropping this series on the Patreon. Now, it's important to mention this is an extra series. So if you're a Patreon member at the, I think it's the $15 level.
There's 15 or
middle level.
The middle or the highest level.
Yeah, if you're that or higher, you're going to get this series early and commercial free. Now, not only are you going to get it early and commercial free, you're also going to get it 3 days early.
Yeah.
So the Patreon versions of DTL will drop every Friday early and commercial free. On Monday, the regular episode with the commercials will drop, everywhere you listen, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever.
Exactly. And we're doing this, because we want you to be able to listen ahead of time, and then you'll get them early, and then you're going to be ahead of the game, and you can get more as you want. Plus, you're still going to get your bonus episodes that I work on that drop here and there. So as far as content goes, your mama's putting in the hours, guys. So
yeah, and it's important to mention, if you are an entry-level member on Patreon and you want to get this series, I know you can go on Patreon, you just upgrade. There's an upgrade button or something right there on the main page. Yeah, and you just upgrade to that middle level if it's something that you do want to get this series early and commercial free in 3 days early. Typically, it's 24 hours early for Unspeakable original drops. This one, we're giving you even, I guess, more juice. Because we know once you hear the very first episode, you're going to be ready for number 2, ready for number 3.
I love too how it escalates. The series just flat out escalates the entire time. So we'll give you that background information, and then you're just going to be right there with me. Something too that was important to me as far as storytelling goes is I wanted to go to the scenes of a lot of these crimes. I wanted to be there, and I wanted to take it in. I wanted to see it with my own eyes. And so I'm going to have more insight and perspective to give you, the listener, that if you know these stories, I don't think that it was imparted upon all of us exactly how it went down, and not out of malice or anything like that. It's just there was, a story to be told. And if a woman was murdered, this woman was murdered. Well, proximity and where this took place, what it looked like, all of this. Jim even rode with me to some of the locations. We rode together and we circled around. Matter of fact, I think they thought we might have been casing the place at one point because neighbors came out
looking at us, and they know where they live, and they know what went down in that house we were looking at. And I will tell the listeners one thing, and one of the places we visited was a graveyard in which an attack took place by Derek Todd Lee. And there's a big difference between telling a story and then telling a story after you've been there. And you've seen it and you smelled it and you rolled on those rocks and that gravel.
You looked, your eyes lay where this killer stood, and you can see the path that he took with total clarity. So my goals are to give you all of it in its minute moments and also in its grandiose moments. And I'm also going to be putting a whole lot of photographs, a bunch of photographs, not only in current times, but in previous times, crime scene photos and files. I'm going to really try to, if you want to know, and it matters, and you like all of that, you're going to really be blessed with the documentation that I was able to get. And
from the people, the investigators
that wrote them.
This is not documentation you can get on the internet.
No, one investigator brought his entire file to me. And let me look through the file. And so I hope you feel this as much as I have, because I took these killings personal, even though I was not, related to these victims. I took it personal.
Well, you always do. I mean, Kelly dives into these stories to such an extent that she feels like she knows these people.
I want to know them. Yeah.
And so from that perspective, that's how she tells it. And I'm going to tell you, I'll tell everyone this, and this is one of the primary reasons we're doing this episode. This is bar none, and y'all know that I have produced a lot of podcasts. I've been very blessed to produce some pretty successful podcasts in my day. I will tell you, this is bar none the best series I have ever been involved in. Everything from the storytelling to the production is something you would expect out of a billion-dollar company. I shit you not on that, folks. When you listen to this, you will think you're listening to a Netflix documentary, but better. And Netflix puts together some pretty damn good documentaries. So get ready for this. Get excited for this. I feel like this is a new season of Yellowstone almost. Like people just looking forward to it. They can't wait to hear it. I'm telling you, your mind is going to be blown. I was in the room during this storytelling. I was behind the scenes, editing this stuff after the fact, and I still couldn't believe what I was hearing when I listened to it.
If I got one request, I got 500. Please do a series on this. Please do a series on this. And it's kind of funny. And I'm going to go like kind of personal here. And I hope you don't get upset with me. But I kind of thought people might be burned out on him. That's the truth. I really did.
Because you had told that, you had dove into that story for that live to such a degree that it's not that you get burned out, but you were like, I already know the story, but
I forgot.
I have to remind Kelly that you know the story.
Right. And I totally, I'm telling you, I lost sight of that. I'm not perfect. I lost sight of that. Well, and
it's human.
Yeah. And Jim, looked me in the face and was like, girl, just because 500 people heard you tell a 2.5 hour story does not mean that all of your listeners got to hear it. And it was like a light bulb went off. And I was like, oh my God, you're right.
That's right. And not only that, even the 500 that heard it, you had to condense an entire horrific 10-year time period in the state of Louisiana. You had to condense that into 2.5 hours. Now we're looking at over 13 hours of content total for this series. And there's no condensing. You're going to get all the facts. There were things about victims that you were like, and look, I had to push because Kelly likes to bring the details.
I do.
She likes to bring them details. She gets pissed when she can't bring the details. And I had to continuously remind Kelly that, hey, we've got limited time here. You can't go off on an hour tangent on one particular victim because we've got to tell all their stories and we've only got 2 hours to do it, essentially.
Yep. And there's a fine line between, in my mind, artistically, if I want to say it that way, I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but there's a fine line between making sure I honor the victim in complete coverage and then, getting through the story. And,
that's right.
And so I've done my best to give you as much as I can. I hope that you can see these houses. I hope that you can feel the air. I hope
feel the rain.
The rain, because if you can't, that's part of the human experience. And why this affected so many people is because it could be me. Oh my God, I stood on that street. Oh wow, I walked that very path. She looks like me.
Yeah.
Oh wow, she had a business 3 miles from my home.
Yeah.
Jim, did you see what happened in Texas today?
Wait, before you tell me that, let me tell you what happened in New York.
It cannot be as crazy as the case I told you about yesterday in Louisiana.
You know what? We should do a podcast about it.
And with that, we did. Crime Wire Weekly covers the crime news headlines that have dominated the week.
We cover trending crimes from all over the country and even sprinkle in a few globally.
Crime Wire Weekly is available now wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Simply by searching Crime Wire Weekly or clicking the link in the description of this podcast.
And then come to find out, guys, if you've ever heard of 6 degrees of separation, we've all hopefully heard that saying before, but
or Kevin Bacon.
You
remember that one?
But nope. Believe it or not, I don't. That was before.
Well, there used to be a.
I do. I know what you're talking about. Never mind.
You'd say, name a movie with Kevin Bacon, and you can tie any actor into that movie within 6 movies.
Yeah, well,
and it's true.
Hey, to show you how strange it is. Well, my point was this: that once I started telling, some local friends of mine what I was doing, they knew these people, or my dad's best friend, his wife was very good friends with one of these victims. I never knew that because I was young. Why would I even think to ask that? But then you start looking and listening, and you realize just how completely and totally connected we all are. Hell, Jim, we were meant to be friends. Real quick, I know we're talking about this series, but our paths, we learned, crossed back from childhood.
Yeah.
And we never knew it. We shared the same friends, didn't knew it. We went to the same high school.
Yeah.
Just years old. He graduated before I ever got there.
Yeah. I'm much older.
You old man. But we went to the same high school. Yeah. He knew my grandpa. Jim knew my grandpa. Yeah. And so just that type of connection between he and I, and look at us today. He sold paint to companies that I went to and dealt with and worked for, not in a big scale, but I did some voice acting. I said one line anyway. And he sold paint to...
Say the line for us.
Are y'all ready? You may recognize this line from a Hallmark movie. Ready?
Yep.
Here, let me help you with that. But
you got the part.
Yeah. But he sold paint to that same company. We talk about it all the time. God was trying to make us friends.
Yeah.
We just had to get and we come to find out we live literally
right across the street from each other.
Right across the street from each other and never knew it. So there's that, and that human aspect. I'm just trying to tell you, I want these women to matter. They still matter. And there's pieces and parts of my own personal life that you're going to get to hear throughout this series that directly connected to these women.
That's right. And another exciting thing about this series is the interviews that we were able to do with people, boots on the ground. The investigator, David McDavid, is one of the main characters, if you will, in this story. Investigator from Zachary, Louisiana. He was the chief of police at one point. Then he became the mayor of Zachary.
He started in the reserve program as a kid and is now... the mayor of Zachary. He's gone through everything, and mad respect for that man.
Mad respect, and he was very integral in the Derek Todd Lee story. We interviewed him. We recorded that interview. You're going to get that. Kathy Fontenot. Tell me about Kathy Fontenot.
So Kathy Fontenot is an absolute hero of mine. And when you think...
And of mine.
When you think of... I'm a strong believer in being a woman's woman, okay? We straighten each other's crowns, and we don't drag each other down. And when people make mistakes, I'm one of those friends that would rather tell you in person, in private. I don't want to drag you down in front of other people, just like I don't want that done for me. Well, Kathy Fontenot was a warden at Angola, and she isn't anymore, but she was at the time. And she actually hired me, and I look up to her. I admire her. And she actually was a big part of who I am today. She would probably roll her eyes at that, but you never know how a 1 or 2 hour interaction with a young kid on a college campus can totally change the trajectory of their life.
Yeah.
And she was that person for me. And she was a warden at Angola.
Tough as nails.
Tough as nails. Cute as a button.
Respected.
Cute as a button.
funny story on that. When, I knew the legend of Kathy Fontenot.
Yeah.
Had a lot of respect for her before I ever met her. But, you develop a picture of someone in your head. Yeah. And I developed this picture. And just from hearing her reputation, I'm thinking this woman's 6 foot tall, probably muscle bound, just
slicked back hair.
Yeah, maybe kind of butch. Yeah. And she walked in here, and this is an attractive woman. And I'm like, wow, she's a little cutie and a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I almost stuttered when she walked in the room because I'm like, wow, I didn't expect a good looking woman to walk in here. And I don't mean that in any kind of negative way, but that was her persona is just such a legendary persona.
Yeah.
You know, being a warden at Louisiana's state penitentiary in Angola, you would
that alone,
think,
makes you think.
You develop this picture. But we interviewed her, and she shared some insight into Derek Todd Lee after his incarceration that you can't get anywhere else.
No, firsthand experience. And real quick, you know how you said people build pictures of what people look like all the time. We don't. I post pictures because I have to, but I'm not someone who wants my face on everything, but I posted a picture of Jim and I at a concert recently, and the comments were so funny because people go, wait a minute. I thought Jim was some skinny man with long blonde hair and a mustache. And Jim's bald and, like solid
bald
dude.
Like I shaved my head, not bald like I got a fold over or something.
A fold over.
Stone cold bald, not...
Yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin or whatever.
Not dorky bald.
Yeah. But
Get that right.
When people's one woman said, wow, it's so strange to see your face. I know your voice, but to see what you look like, it's not what it's just not what I expected.
Right. Yeah.
And so kind of interesting, but that's the case here. And also, I'm going to tell you this, Derek Todd Lee doesn't look anything like what anybody thought he would look like.
No.
And so that's a huge part of that story. It's just, why do we build these expectations and then they're totally shattered,
Right.
It's very interesting how the mind works.
It really is. And, another interesting thing about the DTL story, and we don't talk too much about this in the series for obvious reasons, but Derek Todd Lee was one of 3 serial killers running around in South Louisiana all at the same time. All at the same time. Imagine the pressure on investigators, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And okay, so I know we're all watching the Ed Gein Netflix thing that's out right now.
I watched the first one and I don't know, I couldn't get it.
You didn't like it? I finished it.
Did
I
you?
finished it. Yeah. Some parts of it,
it's too weird for me.
Yeah. I watched it because I wanted to see what they expanded on, and maybe they took a lot of liberties in that show. But at a couple of points, it just got perverse just for the sake of perversion. It felt like.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in seeing Mama naked.
Yeah, you missed some other stuff
Once
too.
Once that came out, I was like, I'll pass.
I'm good. But no, like. The people that are caught up in that type of, that's a big thing, the Ed Gein, because of how horrific it was. Well, we had 3 of them things running around, in South Louisiana, and just investigators. How do you go look at a death, and then you go look at another death, and then you go look at another death, and you're like, well, is this the hallmark of this uncaught killer, or is it the hallmark of this uncaught killer? And then they overlap. They had a job. They had a huge job cut out for them at that time, and we may need to extend a series to talk about those guys too.
Yeah. It was, it's just something, folks, that I cannot impress on you enough how awesome it is. And I know you would expect that from the people that produced it and the people that hosted it. But I'm telling you, when you hear this, you're going to be blown away, and you're going to know the amount of work involved, and you're going to know so much about this guy.
And what I tell you in this story, and I mean this 10 toes down, chest out, I have a lot of college age listeners. I know that because they reach out to me and they ask me for sources and things like that. If you're in college and you're writing papers and you're, in criminal justice or something, this series will give you a ton of insight too. To expand upon and to learn from. And I know that's kind of a weird thing for me to pull out, but it's happening right now. I've had a couple of people reach out recently. One of my former students messaged me and she said, oh my God, thank you so much, because I had sent her a bunch of my sources and she did her paper on Derek Todd Lee, got 100% too, shout out.
There you go.
And then another friend of mine, Jim, I got cited for the first time, formally cited in a writing.
Really?
Yeah. And she sent it to me. She was like, look, you're officially a source. I was like, damn it. Yes. The academic in me loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome.
In the sultry heat of Louisiana, where the bayous whisper secrets and the air hangs heavy with the scent of magnolias, a darkness lurked beneath the surface. Derek Todd Lee was a man whose charm masked a sinister reality. He was a monster. Lee, a seemingly ordinary man with a disarming smile, led a double life that would unravel in a series of murders in the capital city of Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas. As the first reports of disappearances and murders began to surface, South Louisiana was thrust into a nightmare, igniting a frantic search for answers. The true horror was just beginning, and the hunt for a serial killer, eventually known by just 3 letters, would reveal not only the depths of Derek Todd Lee's depravity, but also the resilience of those most affected by his evil acts, the families and the survivors. This is DTL.
Look, we want to tell you right now, if you're listening to this on the regular feed, this episode, number 1, is 5 days from today. So it drops Monday for you. Obviously, we drop our shows at midnight. So Monday at the stroke of midnight, which some people say, wait, isn't that Sunday night? No, technically it's Monday morning.
I'm one of those.
I
think it's Sunday night.
Yeah, it blows people's minds. But midnight, you're going to get that. If you are a Patreon member, though, as I told you, you're going to get this in 2 days. Yep. So if you're not currently a Patreon member, go join the middle level or above right now, and you'll get to hear episode number 1 on Friday, 2 days from today. Now, if you're listening to this, obviously, on Patreon, well, you're 3 days from today.
That's too much math. Just do your thing, people. Do your thing. Whatever makes you happy. I know.
You know, I like to get down in the weeds with the timing.
So I hope y'all are excited. I hope that you are prepared and that you're ready to hear it all and that you really enjoy this and remember that these victims are real people and that these stories are being told not with salaciousness, not with theatrics just for the sake of it. I want you to know. And I hope that it can help mold you as an individual when you think about the criminal justice system, when you think about victims' rights, when you think about families of victims, all of that. That is why this has been such a good experience for me, because it's going to give you a lot of insight that sometimes gets glossed over because people don't want to hear it.
Right. And one more thing.
Okay.
Share it.
Yeah.
Share this podcast on your social media, this series on your social media if you enjoyed it. We want to get as many eyes on it as possible. As y'all know, KJ is all about the victims, telling the stories of the victims, but nobody ever knows the victims if not enough people listen to it and hear it. Yeah. The best way you can get that out there is to share this podcast. If you're hearing this right now, you're already a fan. Yeah. You're listening. You're loving Unspeakable. We want to get it to the people out there that are not familiar with this show so that we can introduce them to the victims in these cases.
That's right, because they are us, we are them, and they matter. So thank y'all so much for this impromptu, I guess, conversational piece that we gave you this week. And you can get ready because I got a lot more content coming your way. So until next time, I am Kelly Jennings.
Do you want me to say I'm Jim Chapman?
Yeah.
I'm Jim Chapman.
And this has been a terrible ending to Unspeakable.
We're going to end it like that.